welcome to the Harmony Channel. Thank you for joining me, Jason Whitlock. I am joined by Shamika Michelle, the First Lady of the Fearless Army, and our biblical bully, Virgil Walker. Thank you guys for joining me. Shamika, you got a funeral you going to? You going to church? What's going on? You're all dressed up.
Well, I'm not dressed up, but I was telling Virgil it's raining here, so I didn't want to have my hair out because I'll end up looking like Frederica Douglass. So I was trying to wear, like a cute scarf that matched. You can't tell it's Coach, but I was so worried about looking like I was going to bed and never thought about looking like I was going to a funeral.
Oh, nightclub, funeral, whatever. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me. We're going to talk about Ryan Clark and his apologies issued over the 3-day weekend to RG3. But first, I want to start with a foundational piece. This is Robert Griffin III talking about Angel Reese. I just want to enter this into the record, and then we'll listen to Ryan Clark kind of break this up, and then we'll enter into a longer discussion about marrying outside your race, marrying outside your mentality. Anyway, so let's play SOT number 2. This is kind of what started the beef between RG3 and Ryan Clark. Here's Robert Griffin III talking about Angel Reese.
So where was this type of reaction last year when Angel Reese got chokeslammed by Alyssa Thomas of the Connecticut Sun? Y'all remember that? She got fouled so hard, they kicked Aaliyah Thomas out the game with a flagrant 2 foul. What did Angel Reese do? Nothing. She didn't get up and try to swing on her. You know why? The reaction was different because of who did it. And there is a lot of history there with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. You guys remember last year when Angel Reese celebrated Kennedy Carter getting that flagrant foul on the hip check against Caitlin Clark? You remember that? On the sideline, just, yeah, baby, get her, you get her. Who celebrates like that for a flagrant foul on another player if they don't dislike that player? Okay, you want some more evidence? Here's some more evidence. Remember last year when they were talking about who gets the credit for the expansion and the eyeballs and the popularity boost of women's basketball, not just the WNBA, but women's basketball in general, because of the spike in the women's NCAA tournament and WNBA viewership? A lot of people were attributing that to Caitlin Clark, and rightfully so. This is what Angel Reese had to say, and I quote, "People are talking about women's basketball. You never would think they'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to the games. We got celebrities coming to the games, sold out arenas, just because of one single game. Just looking at that, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on to be that for my teammates. I know I'll go down in history. I'll look back in 20 years and be like, the reason we're watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me, too. I want y'all to realize that." Now, I heard a lot of people say that I or others have made Angel Reese the villain. Did you not just hear herself call herself the bad guy? She called herself the villain. I'm not making her the villain. She's making herself the villain.
So that's Robert Griffin III on his podcast that he frequently does with his wife. This is commonplace. He's offering up criticism of Angel Reese for the way she carries herself. I believe RG3's wife is a former track athlete, so she has some relationship with the athletic world. Obviously, RG3 does. Again, this is what they do on their podcast. He's offering up some criticism of Angel Reese. Ryan Clark took this very personally. Ryan Clark's an LSU grad, former football player. Angel Reese played 2 years of college basketball at LSU. They seem to have some sort of friendship, mentoring type relationship where Ryan Clark's in constant communication. But whatever RG3 said there, Ryan Clark took as an indictment of all black women. But let's let Ryan Clark speak for himself. Let's play first SOT number 4.
Greta Griffin. Let me say this before getting into reasoning, before getting into thought process. She should not have been brought up in me trying to make a point about how having Black women close to you and the things that you learn from them can help you in the way that you approach and speak to and about them. She didn't need to be the illustration of that. I could speak positively about what they are without making the insinuation that it's something that non-Black women don't do well. I'm doing the exact same thing, or it may have seemed that I did the exact same thing to her that I'm trying to keep people from doing to Black women. My thought process was, in seeing certain clips on my algorithm, on my timeline, they do a podcast together. In that podcast, they talk very openly about not being Black enough. They talk very openly about biracial kids, what it's like to not be accepted in the Black community. They very rarely talk about Black women. In the video that RG3 posted that I felt like mocked Angel Reese, she was in the background. Did I love the optics of RG3, a Black man, attacking and imitating, and what I felt insulting, mocking a Black woman as his wife was in the background, almost seemingly as a prop of, and this is my feeling, of what was good, amening, nodding along, and applauding what I felt like was a personal attack. I didn't. But that doesn't mean because I have that feeling about what you do to someone else that I can do that to you. So to Greta, I was out of line. I was out of bounds. I apologize.
That's a horrible apology.
Well, hold on. You don't have to whisper it, Virgil. What do you think of the apology, Virgil?
That's a horrible apology.
You've already previewed it. All right, go ahead. Why is it horrible?
I mean, it wasn't an apology. He basically restated the whole thing about why he said what he said. I mean, this wasn't I'm sorry, I was wrong. This is, I'm sorry, folks are upset, and I had to address this again. I mean, he really wasn't sorry. He explained that the woman was a prop. He explained that, you know, he basically restated what got him in trouble in the first place in the apology. So it really wasn't an apology. I mean, it was really him doubling down, if you will, and then virtue signaling for those who might be, you know, getting at him about bringing the family into it. And I think the only commandment that he crossed in the world that he's in was bringing the family into the issue. That's the only violation of the quote unquote code that he really demonstrated that caused him problems. And this is his attempt to check mark the box to those who would give him grief regarding that. That's all that was.
Shamika, what do you think of the apology?
I think it sucked. It went back to what I was saying last week, Jason, how does what RG3 said about Angel Reese affect me as a Black woman? I don't play basketball. I'm not 6'3". I mean, I'm not named Angel, so I don't even understand how Ryan Clark keeps bringing this back to all Black women. I didn't like the way his wife was sitting in the background as he degraded a Black woman. All he did was say something about how she feels about Caitlin Clark in reference to basketball. That has nothing to do with me. And like Virgil said, it was not an apology. He restated everything that he said before, just said it in a calmer fashion, tried to dress it up a little bit, but that has absolutely nothing to do with Black women. Stop making it about that. It really irritates me.
He's establishing a position that anytime you talk about any Black woman in the public arena, you're talking about all Black women. And so if a Black woman commits murder and you say, hey, that's wrong, she shouldn't do that, and that's really ratchet ghetto behavior, killing someone. Well, hold on. You can't say that with a white woman sitting there. You can't, you're criticizing all black women. And it's like, for RG3, I'm telling you, he's not thinking of Angel Reese as a black woman. He's thinking, this is a high-profile public figure, athlete, who clearly has a personal problem with Caitlin Clark. I get to talk about that. My wife's a former athlete. Me and my wife talk about these things on our podcast. We can say whatever we want about Angel Reese, public figure, and we can point out that Angel Reese said, hey, I want to be the villain. I'll be the villain, blah, blah, blah. The worship of, and I'm going to go a cut deeper here, but I want to play another clip, but Ryan Clark is demonstrating the worship of black women, in that if one is criticized, all is criticized, and his job in his mind as a man is to run out and defend black women at all costs for anything, any behavior, no matter how good or bad it is. And I just continue to question Ryan Clark and try to push him a different direction. Ryan Clark claims a faith in Jesus Christ. Has he put out any videos defending Jesus Christ? Because he's under attack every single day. I haven't seen any videos, and he's talking about he's watching RG3 videos. I want to see RG3 step out here and defend Jesus Christ in a public space the way he does black women. Virgil, I'll give you a thought on that, then I want to play another clip.
Yeah, this is worship wokeness, right? This is the worship of wokeness, and what Ryan Clark is demonstrating here is that every day that you wake up, you try to figure out the most contentious issue that you could bring up, the hypersensitivity of any pushback against the black woman is his mode of worship today, and so he's engaged in that. He shows that for what it is, and what ends up happening is that the worship of wokeness, the worship of women, particularly black women in this instance, it's only going to close your circle. In other words, I mean, RG3, I mean, he's pretty woke. I mean, he's, apart from his white wife, he has some statements and things that he says that toe the line with everyone that Ryan Clark would agree with. And so what Ryan Clark has done is he's actually closed his circle. He's saying, I'm a better devotee of woke worship. And so as a result of that, I've got to chastise RG3 in this way so that I can be on the Mount Olympus, if you will, of wokeness. And that's what happens when every day you've got to be a victim, or you've got to find a brand new victim to bring in to be able to worship. And that's what's happened here. He offended a few people in his sports circle because they always know that the code of conduct in that circle is don't bring the family into it. So he's trying to check that box while continuing up the mountain of woke worship.
I want to play this second clip, and this is the more substantive, not substantive, but it's a longer conversation I want to have about dating outside your race. Ryan Clark leans into this pretty heavily. Let's play shot number 5.
The first thing I thought about is either other men of other races aren't answering this question, or don't date outside of their race enough for it to be a question, because I never hear their answer. And so it doesn't feel, at least to me, that they are constantly having to justify their choices in relationships by propping up another set of women over women that look like them. And it was starting to be that feeling that it seemed that when black men talked about why they dated outside their race, it was because the other women were more of this or less of something negative, rather than saying, it's not about whether I'm dating a black woman or a woman outside of my race. It's about dating the particular woman I'm dating, and I care for her. And that was on my soul, because I didn't feel like we had to demean and put down black women to say why we chose to love who we love. And in my proximity to black women, getting home from the draft and having the conversation about how refreshing it was to see Rickea Jackson sitting next to Pierce when he was drafted. And it wasn't just about her beauty or the beauty of the couple. It was because in today's young athlete world, she's actually sort of becoming the minority when it comes to black athletes. She's becoming the anomaly. And in having young black daughters, there is the concern of, will you be able to find someone to love you based on the optics of that? And so that was on my heart in walking in to speak about RG3. And instead of taking those two things as separate thoughts, I thought, here's the time to do it. And in doing that, I wasn't clear.
Shamika, you're raising 3 daughters. Is he expressing a genuine concern? Will you be able to find someone, black athlete, black man, that even finds black women desirable? Is that a concern?
It's not a concern on whether or not they find black women desirable. Like, that's not my thought. My thought when it comes to my children it's always, will they find someone with the same mentality? And that's what I think men are looking for. Let me find someone with the same mentality as you're saying, because when you think about black women, or when you think about women in general now, feminism is so rampant that men are rejecting that. And so if the thought is that black women subscribe to this idea more than any other group of people, if you don't want a woman that's a feminist, then you may, that may lead you to look elsewhere, opposed to just really digging deep and sifting through and trying to find that black woman who's not a feminist. So when I think about my girls, I think about, will they have a man, and preferably a black man, honestly, who doesn't want somebody to lead them, who's not looking for the woman to be in control, who has traditional values as they've been raised with. They're not feminists. I didn't raise 3 little feminists. So it's more of a mentality thing for me, of a concern, but not that black men won't like black women.
Yeah, I think that it's normal for people to have a preference of, hey, my black daughter, I'd like for her to find a black man. I'd like for them to duplicate what we have. It's a nice little preference. But what actually concerns most people is, I want my daughter to marry a man that I respect, has values of being a protector and a provider, has biblical values. And so I'm not going to call one of my best friends in life 2 daughters. One married a white guy, and one had a baby with a white guy. And you could see it coming a mile away. And I used to say it because, my friend and his wife, both black, raised their children very traditionally with a great set of values. They went to Christian, Catholic education, and just really, really smart. And I was like, bro, your daughters are going to be looking for people they share values with. And these young black men are so far removed and so secular and so into hip hop and all this other, that it's going to be hard for. And lo and behold, and this man has 2 beautiful, super intelligent daughters. And they struggle to find black dudes that they compatible, or I don't even want to say struggled, but they ended up with white guys. And no one can knock them for that. Virgil, you've raised some kids, you and your wife. What are the concerns? Is Ryan Clark talking about any of them?
Yeah, no, not one of them, especially if he claims to be a Christian. Biblically speaking, I pulled up Acts 17:26, where Paul is explaining that out of one man, the text of scripture says, out of one man, God made all the nations. And that word there, nations, in Acts 17:26, is the Greek word ethnos. And so out of one man, God made all of the ethnos, the ethnicities. This idea of races is a social construct that's been developed in the 1800s by a man by the name of Samuel Morton. And he created and constructed the whole concept of different races of people through craniometry. You might have seen this in your textbooks back in the day, where you had the brain or the skull of one individual and different individuals, bigger sizes, bigger head sizes were Caucasian, the smaller head sizes were Negroids, as he categorized them. And so the idea was, the bigger or larger your head, the more brain power you had, so the smarter you were. So he created all of this idea, this whole idea, for the purpose, during the late 1800s, for the purpose of a people group, which were black people. It helped slave owners to make sense of the horrific manner in which they treated black people. Oh, they're not really human. They're subhuman, and here's why. And we have the science to back it up. Samuel Morton was where this idea of races actually infected us in America. And then as a result, we've taken it to a whole another level. If we're speaking biblically, there is one human race. From a standpoint of DNA, we're not that far apart from one another. What makes us different is the level of melanin in our skin. That's it. And so what you go back to then is cultural differences. What's your culture? What belief system do you have? What ideas do you promote? Do you hold to a biblical worldview? Is that what you want in a mate? You mentioned my children. My oldest son, I'm actually preparing now for his wedding. I'm getting ready to. I'll be the officiant at the wedding, as well as the dad of the groom. But I'm also walking them through biblical counseling as well. And so, I have no care in the world about. I don't care so much as the color of the girl's skin. She's a white female. I care more about how's her family treat my son. I care about, do they have the same values? Is she a feminist? Is she willing to be led by my son? My son is, I've trained him well. He has very clear biblical values. There's a specific direction he's going. And I want to make sure that the girl that he's with is going in that same direction right alongside him. And as he seeks out counsel from me, from other godly men in his life, that he's leading her appropriately. That's what I care about. I don't care about the color of the girl's skin. My other son, he was dating a young girl here, a black female. I don't care about, I could care less about how light or dark skinned she is. I care that she has biblical values, that she's not signed on to feminism, that she's not planning to pull him in a direction that's ungodly or unbiblical. That's what I care about. And that's what anyone who claims the name of Christ, those are the kinds of things that they should be stressing.
Guys, I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to wrap this up on my own. Thank you so much for contributing. But I'm going to wrap it up on my own. Shamika landed on my point, and I tweeted this out over the weekend. Ryan Clark's outside my race deal. It's preposterous. It's a joke. It's low IQ thinking. And that's the only way to describe it. It's low IQ. It's someone with scales all over their eyes. They can't see. The marriage rates for all demographics in America has been on the decline since about the 1960s. That it's just been on a steady decline in terms of percentage of American adults who are married. And I think we're down to around 34 or 35%. It's incredible. And this all can be attached to and pointed to as feminism rose, marriage declined. As women rejected traditional roles, our marriage rate across America has declined. And it's most acute where the most hardcore feminists are at, Black women. They're as feminists, and they believe in feminism. They believe they're queens and kings. They believe in the woman king. They believe they're the boss of all bosses. They believe men have failed and that they are the true leaders, and they're just doing this because this is what they have to do. They've completely rejected a biblical worldview. They think, well, I'm just doing what I have to do because of X, Y, and Z. And they have all their justifications why God's truth doesn't matter. And so there's something in the nature of men, whether or not they have a biblical worldview or not, men have a nature of leadership. And feminists have a nature of I'm not following no man anywhere. And so the marriage rates for black people in the toilet, I believe we have a graphic where I think it's 33%. It's the lowest rate among all the different ethnic groups. And that's because feminism is in total control of the black woman mindset. And she has forced that worldview on men that have waved the flag and surrendered. Ryan Clark is in a feminist marriage. That's why he thinks, and I'm not trying to denigrate him, that's why he thinks, hey, I can learn so much, and if I spend more time listening to black women, there's this special level of understanding. Where's that at in the Bible? And I only ask because Ryan Clark claims a faith. Where is it at that black women in particular, just women that have this special level of knowledge that man must seek from them? Where's it at? The instructions that I believe that are in the Bible, man follow God. That's the instruction. And so I never hear Ryan Clark attaching any of his philosophies. He puts all these videos together, and you never hear it in direct connection to God. What you'll hear is black women and so and this person or that person, Angel Reese, but never God. And there's so much to learn from these black women. And I'm not saying there's nothing. They are a great source of wisdom when their wisdom is attached to a biblical worldview. They are a great source of wisdom when they're based in a relationship, a covenant relationship between themselves, man, and God. Detached from all of that. Detached from all of that. They're children with big breasts. And you could say the exact same thing about me. Detached from God. I'm just a child with big breasts. So don't anybody get offended. But that's what these single feminist women are. They're children with big breasts. And those of you that have followed me for a while and used to follow, and I don't know if he's still out there, Chronicles of Judah. Yeah, that's something that Chronicles of Judah used to say that I used to giggle at and think, man, that's kind of extreme. And I got to say, the dude nailed it. Big 5'4", 5'3", 5'2", children with breasts. Disconnected from God, given over to a reprobate mind. Think they're the smartest people on the planet. Think that they did this and that, and everything good that happened to them is because of what they did. So, marriage rate on the decline, not over skin color, not over preference of white women, brown women, yellow women, green women. It's a preference of mentality. Men do not want a feminist, and feminists do not want a real man. Period. End of story. And that's why America's marriage rate is in the toilet, and that's why the black marriage rate is the lowest part of the toilet. And that's why black children are completely out of control. Don't believe in marriage because they don't share a mentality. There are black women out there committed to, it's their religion, to never answer to a man, ever. That woman will remain single, her children will continue to be out of control, and she will continue to subscribe to a culture, whatever they've determined black culture is, this degenerate, rancid culture. They're going to fall victim to that culture unless some Superman, someone that's willing to ignore their ignorance, their secular values, their demonic values, decides, yeah, I'm going to stand in the gap. Or they just go all the way down the demonic path and they can provide for themselves because the devil is providing for them. If not that, they need a savior, like the rest of us. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say on that. Thank you guys for watching. We'll play Harmony, and we'll see you next time.
Up so divided, stop fighting and stand tall. We used to be a nation, one united.